name is Emma, and today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough on how we organise our digital homeschooling. This is a method which will probably be quite useful to know about if you don't always teach in the same place. Maybe you're travelling, or maybe your daughter or your son likes to sometimes work at a desk, sometimes on the sofa, that kind of thing. And you need something that they can always access the curriculum or the learning materials or the lesson plan from wherever they are. I'm going to be using Google Slides and Google Calendar and also Common Curriculum. Now, Google Slides and Google Calendar are free, but Common Curriculum, they do have a free version, but we're using the Pro version. It's $60 a year. That's about £45 at today's exchange rates if you're in the UK. And to me, it's well worth the money. It's less than £5 a month, and you could kind of double up with someone else, but I probably shouldn't say that. So let's just get straight into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how we actually set up our lessons to just kind of make the common curriculum bit a little bit easier to explain when we get there. So we use Google Slides, and I'm just going to go right up to the top here. You can use any presentation system that you like, or you can use OneNote, or you can use Word. It doesn't really matter how you do this bit, but what is important is that whatever you use, it must be on the cloud. And what I mean by that is it's not a document that you've created in Word and saved in a shared folder somewhere, and then whoever is using it has to download it to their computer, because if you do it that way, then whenever you update it, you have to upload a new one, and that person has to download a new one. And quite quickly, you can see how that could become a problem, because if you make a change and they don't know, they'll still be working from the old version. The way that Google Slides works, or OneNote, or PowerPoint, if you've got it on OneDrive, is that if you make a change, it's automatically seen by the other person. So for example, if I change this title here from Russia to something else, even if my daughter had this document open on her iPad or her computer, that would change and she'd see it straight away. So there's none of that kind of confusion or miscommunication. So the way that we set it up is I give the lesson area, or sorry, the subject area is always here, and what they're learning is always here. I do an overview so that my daughter can see how many weeks she's going to be learning here and vaguely what she's going to be doing. And then I set it up week by week. So there's week 1, there's week 2, and if we pop down here, this is week 3. And what I like about doing it in this kind of style is it means that all of the learning is linear. So you start at the beginning of the file and you just work your way through it, rather like reading a story. And as I go through it, I can just keep adding more and more lessons to the end. So I don't have to create new documents or new pages or new files anywhere. I just keep adding it on and on and on. And I particularly like Google Slides because it loads pretty quickly and it works on everything. It's free. And it's very, very simple to use. It doesn't have all of the whistles and bells that Keynote and PowerPoint has, but I don't find that we actually need them. So this works really well for us. So one of the things that we do is that we have the digital versions of the books. A lot of publishers actually, if you buy the hard copy of it, do give you a code in the front of the book, so you can sometimes download the digital version for free, but we just bought the digital versions because we live offshore and it takes ages for stuff to get to us, and I just wanted to be able to get on with stuff. So what I will do is, let's just go into this slide. So there's a map of Russia, and if I just go into the book, which seems to have disappeared, wouldn't you know, it would disappear, wouldn't it? Let's just see if I can find it. There we go. And there's that page there. So I just grab this, I just screen grab it and drag it in. If I go to that page, that's that bit there. So I spread it over several different slides. And because I'm not sharing it with anybody and it's just being used internally by our own family, that's absolutely fine. So let's just go back into here. It also means that I can, if I go to show you this slide, there's a bit of a screen grab from the book, and here are some YouTube videos that explain this in a bit more detail. So that's how we set it up. And then over here you can see there's a link here for share. So you can share it so somebody can edit it themselves or just view it, whatever you feel works best for you. We tend to use the can edit as well, because if my daughter is using her own resources, we like her to paste them into the Google Slides so she can refer back to them later. And also there's some kind of proof that she's doing the work. So let's talk next about how we actually plan our days. And for that, we use Google Calendar. So I'm just going to pop into that now. Just scroll forward a week, so it just makes things a little bit easier. So all of the things down here, all of these brown coloured ones, these are all of the lessons that she's got during the week. And she can drag them in across here and do them whenever she likes. And all of these coloured ones on this side, these are fixed. So they are either virtual classrooms that she joins, or they are a tutor that comes to our home to take that lesson for her. So she can plan these so they fit around here, and she has full ownership of when she does that. We like to use Google Calendar for two reasons. One, because we share the calendar, so we can keep an eye on her, make sure she's actually planning it. And also because you can use another app called, or it's a web service actually called Calendar Lab, and it means that you can run reports on how much time you spent in certain areas. So if you need to do some formal reporting, it's very useful for that. You don't have to keep like a separate document to record all of the hours and tick them off. If I just scroll back a week, you can see that she's put some in here, just scheduled herself at nap time. And they're greyed out, but don't worry about that. It just means they're in the past. But as soon as you grab hold of it and drag it, it'll go the right colour. So I'll just pop that back in there. Of course, the other great thing about this is it does enable our daughter, who's 13, to learn to manage her time, which we find is a really good exercise for her to do. So let's move into common curriculum, which kind of ties all of this together. So common curriculum works in these kind of what they call plan books, but you need to kind of think about that as just an expanse of time. Mine starts in January and ends at the sort of mid of August. I just made one long term instead of splitting them up. And the reason I did that is because some of our course providers are in America and the holidays don't tie up very well. So I didn't want to have to try and figure that out with a spring term and then a gap for the holidays and then a summer term, and I'm then trying to put a lesson in when there isn't any lessons because there's a break between them. So I just made one long one just because it was easier for me. So if I click into that, this is opening up in the unit timeline. This is one of the areas that you pay for if you use the pro version of Common Curriculum. And the reason I really like it is because it's very easy to see where you're up to. So these are all of the subject areas down the side, as you can see, and then we have these kind of units. They call them units, like learning units. So here we can see Russia is expanding across 9 weeks, and then these little blue dots are all of the lessons that I have planned so far. So I don't put these little blue dots in until I have physically planned that lesson and put it on Google Slides. So I can see that I still have 5 lessons here that I need to plan. So when I'm looking at what I need to do next, this is really, really visual and very clear for me to see. So if I scroll down, I can see that one needs some doing, that one needs some doing, and I can see that I've planned some things into the future. So in terms of quickly identifying where you're up to, I love it. The other thing that I really like about this is that, let's just say that this tectonic activity overran, or perhaps we didn't start it when we thought we were going to start it. Instead of having to manually move all of these lessons one by one, I can just click on here and just drag it, and all of those lessons that I put in come with it. So I don't have to manually move them around, and that is such a time saver, and I love that about it. So to plan a lesson, I'm just going to move myself over a little bit. What you would do is you would click Add, and then you would just click on any of these little blue crosses, and then, I'm just going to have to move myself over a bit again, and then you would just type everything in here. And once you've typed everything into here, then you can just copy it. So if I just close this and show you what I mean. So let's say if I open this one. So I've explained what it is and kind of what she needs to do. And then here is the link to the Google Slides. Don't worry about the fact it looks weird. It does look weird, but it will look fine when she clicks on that link. So if I copy it, click on there and copy it and wait for it to do its thing, and then close that down. And then if I click in this one, the next one, and then click on paste, it puts all of that in. So all I would need to do is change this text here, and this link stays there. So I don't have to keep copying and pasting that link in. I know it's a small time saver, but when you're doing a lot of lesson planning, you really need it. So I don't want that to be in there. So I am just going to, delete it. I think I need to close it first and then click back into it. and then erase it and then delete it. There we go. And then just close that down. And then I'm just going to pop myself back over here. So the next thing I'm going to show you is the weekly view. We use this a lot, and I'm going to scroll back to the current week that we are in, which is the 2nd of March. And in here, you will see all of those individual lessons that you have created, and you can also change them in here. So you don't have to use a unit timeline to go in and change all those lessons. You can just do them in here. So for example, I could just add something in there, and then that will be there. I'm just going to get rid of that because I don't need it in here. And whether you are in the unit timeline or in this view, you can use these little attached bits here, and you can basically add whatever you want. You could record a little video, you could do whatever you want. And everything that you see here is now going to show up in the timetable. So I'm just going to quickly show you that. Now, don't get too worried about the fact that it is a timetable. Just think of it as a list of things that your child needs to do throughout the week. So we print this out, and then my daughter refers to it when she's doing her planning. So let's say she's going to be doing history. She'll have a look and think, would I fancy doing that today? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, rather than clicking backwards and forwards between the two. And then she just crosses them off in her plan, so she can see again that she's already done them, and it just makes it a little bit more easier for her. And what I like is all of the lessons are all color coded. So all the maths ones are purple, and the English ones is kind of maroony color. And all of those links that we put in are here, so that when she comes to do, say, her history lesson here, she would just click on that and it would take her directly to that Google slide. So it's just really easy for them to access the information. And because I've dragged everything in from the book, from taking screen grabs and dragged them into the Google Slides, she doesn't have to carry all the books around with her. She just literally has to have something to write on to do the work. And as you can see, you can put images in it, you can put links in it, you can put bullet points, you can make things bold, you can do all sorts of it. And I think that it's a really, really brilliant system. And you can, or your child can access this along with Google Sheets and Google Calendar on their iPad or tablet or even their phone if they really want to make it that small. Now, one thing I will quickly say is that you can't really set common curriculum up inside or on an iPad or a tablet. For some reason, it doesn't quite work very well and you end up in a big mess. Maybe that will be something that they will fix, but right now, if you want to use common curriculum, you will need to have a laptop or a desktop to be able to do the lesson planning and move all the things around that I showed you before. So I hope that that was useful to you. If you would like me to do a full walkthrough on how I set up common curriculum, if there's a need for that, I will definitely do it. But I hope in the meantime, this gives you an idea of how you can use this system, and I hope it was useful. And now I'm waffling. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye.